So I'm stealing this video idea from the Black and Blue Color Reader, and I will tag him in the summary as well. And this is just our favorite things, and it's a couple book questions, but it's really kind of a variety of stuff. And I'll be honest, we added a few things that are not related. Just because we figured, why not? And why not make this video unnecessarily long? So we added some things. Feel free to steal it, use what you want, add what you want. It's kind of fun. Just look at just different things. And also it kind of gave us some ideas of, maybe some things we can do in the future, like other lists or, things we can kind of build off of. So, enjoy our very long pile of lists. Okay, so number one is going to be first our favorite band or musician, and since that's kind of two different things, we're going to talk about the two different things. So Sir Chunk's going to start.
All right, I'm going to start chunking it up here. We got a lot of things on this list. I'm going to go kind of quick. My favorite singular musician is Bob Mould, not to be confused with Yellow Mold, which is bad for you. He's got a ton of music with the band Sugar. If you don't know who he is, check him out. Good music, lo-fi stuff, excellent guitarist. And my favorite band is a Ninja Sex Party. It's only two people, but one's a ninja, and they like to talk about having sex parties. Incredibly hilarious music. And also they do a lot of good covers of 80s tunes and stuff too. So yeah, if you want to enjoy some tunes, Ninja Sex Party.
Okay, on a completely different side. So I debated a lot of my favorite band because I don't really listen to a lot of bands. Like I like Hole, I really love Live Through This, but it's just the one album. I like REM. I pretty much like everything by Nirvana, but they weren't around that long. And then the more I thought about it, I was like, you know what? The one band that I consistently have always liked and I keep going back to is Green Day. So that's my band. And then my favorite singer, because I am more into like singer-songwriters, my favorite singer is Tori Amos, she's been my favorite singer for pretty much most of my life. Yeah. All right, so moving into the next one, and I'll start with this. It's favorite 3 films and directors. And so I had already done my top 100 films. So these are just 3 films that are in my, in the top part of my 100. I don't know even know if they are 1, 2, and 3. But I wanted to give some variety. So I have Equilibrium, which is a great dystopian action movie with Christian Bale. Very underrated. You have to see it. It's amazing. The movie that I watch the most and cry every single time is Homeward Bound, which is, yes, the movie about the 2 dogs and the cat. It's not even sad, but there is the ending makes you think it's sad, and I cry every single time, even though I've seen it a million times and I know what's going to happen.
One of these days, he's not coming over that hill.
Oh my God, that hill. Every time I'm like, he's not coming, even though I know he's coming, and he's been coming for decades.
Director's cut. They eliminate them coming.
No, don't eliminate the dogs. And then A Ghost Story, which is a very, very slow, sort of artsy, thought-provoking film about loss and grief.
And intense pie eating.
Yeah, and some intense pie eating. And then for directors, I just picked images of some of their films. So my favorite directors are Stanley Kubrick, who obviously did Clockwork Orange, Terrence Malick, and that's from Days of Heaven, and then David Lynch, and that's from Twin Peaks, which is, Fire Walk with Me is a movie, but also he's a very weird director, but it's so hard not to just be, drawn to him, because he makes, movies or, moving paintings with him, and it's really cool to watch. All right,
so here we go. I didn't do my top 100 movie list yet because I'm still trying to whittle it down from about 500, and I'm having a heck of a time. I'm very bad. So I picked 3 films that I really love that are all quite different. One is Clue, classic 80s comedy based on the board game, of course. Super witty, incredible setting. Love the cast. Amazing movie. Maybe my favorite movie. We'll see. Then very different is a movie called Manic. See Joseph Gordon-Levitt looking very sad in this picture. Really slow, intense character study about people with a lot of, difficulties. Love it, relate to it, fantastic. And then on the other side, Oscar caliber action, Saving Private Ryan, probably a movie everybody's heard of. Probably most of you have seen it. Just great from beginning to end. Again, spectacular acting. The set pieces are incredible. The main opening sequence on Normandy has been considered by many the best scene in film, and it's definitely got to be up there. Directing wise, who the heck did I even pick for directors? I got Danny Boyle.
He's in the middle. Danny Boyle's in the middle there. 28
Danny
days
Boyle,
later.
28 days later. I got that dude who did like The Prestige and Batman.
You can never
and
remember
stuff.
Christopher Nolan's name.
Nolan. I like the guy. Memento and
he also uses Cillian Murphy.
Doma here, right? All those, almost everything except for a couple of the recent ones. I like by Christopher Nolan. But I love the tone, so good, right? You know, Inception even amazing. And again, underrated movie, Prestige. You haven't seen The Prestige? See that. Spectacular. And then. Choking to death, Edgar Wright at the bottom, almost entirely for my overwhelming love of the movie Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. He has other movies that are good that I like, you know, Shaun of the Dead, of course, is awesome. But Scott Pilgrim, I love it, and also I love the sort of like playful creativity with just the style of filmmaking that movie. Awesome. Great movie.
All right, and then also they asked for Disney movie, so we're going to do two different kinds of Disney movies. One that was made before we were born, and one that was, so I say like old school and modern, but the moderns are like 30 years old now. Right. So one before we were born and one after.
All right, so both of mine involve fuzzy things making out. I got Lady and the Tramp, of course, the very famous spaghetti dog sequence, a scene no doubt reenacted by many like meatball-loving people over the course of existence. And, of course, Beauty and the Beast, where Belle makes out with a very large-looking dog in a library sometimes.
It's not always the library, even though I think
it's like the library only.
All right, then I have The Fox and the Hound, which is just such a cute movie about a fox and a hound who become friends. And then The Little Mermaid, and I know the new one just came out. Haven't seen it yet. Kind of excited to see it, but also not sure I need all these remakes. But this is my favorite in the sort of newer era of Disney. So I am kind of excited to see it, even if it's different, just because I love The Little Mermaid. All right. Okay, the next one's pretty quick. It's favorite scent. So for me, that's anything citrusy. I love that smell.
I love campfires, particularly campfires at night in the fall, particularly if you're throwing the corpses of your enemies into the campfire.
Okay, burning bodies I don't think is his favorite
That's
scent.
Not a great scent, but just the campfire part is good. The build up to the corpse burning is what really is the best part of the corpse burning anyway. Layered season, speaking of campfires in fall, I also like fall as the best season, and it is the best season. Remember, all the cool kids are born in October.
He was born in October, if you couldn't guess.
So she thinks I'm a cool kid. Thanks.
I was born in November, which I think is still technically fall, but my favorite season is winter. It's because, I'll be honest, I don't have to go anywhere, and so not having to go anywhere makes winter far better. Like, if you can work from home, he's a teacher, so he basically can work from home because they don't have to go in usually when the weather is bad. So since we don't have to worry about, shoveling out in the middle of like a bad storm and being on the roads, winter is beautiful. I love being cozy. I love nothing more than like blankets and coffee and cats and books and just coziness and the radiator going. And so winter is so perfect for that because it's just very cozy. And so from there, it was favorite seasonal drink, which mine actually ties into winter, except I always get my coffee iced, even if it's, negative 10 degrees. I'm still going to be getting iced coffee. So my favorite is the iced peppermint latte from Starbucks. I don't really need the mocha. The mocha's fine, but I really like just the peppermint iced lattes. I have very particular Starbucks orders to the point where Sir Chung is just like, just write the whole thing down. And he's like, here's this novel that you want.
Yeah, I just read and I have to ask them if they know what I'm talking about. They're like, yes, we know.
Yeah, and they have no problem with it because, it's Starbucks. All right, and Sir Chung?
I'm not much for seasonal drinks, I guess, but if I had to pick one, I'd go with the Watermelon Coolada from Dunkin' Donuts. I enjoy watermelon, and the Coolada, of course, is best when it's hot as hell outside. So, yeah.
And then regular favorite beverage.
Oh yeah, Grape Aid. I went with Grape Aid. Nantucket Nectars makes it. The other guys who
Snapple
have
makes
the
it too.
Snapple guys, yeah, Snapple makes it too. They're both really good. So yeah, Grape Aid. It's grape. It's lemonade. It's merged together to form Voltron. It's Grape Aid.
And mine is a very, very specific drink. It is apple cider, but it's specifically apple cider that is made in the Normandy or northern France regions. In particular, this Le Verger de Giverny, which I probably said horribly. This is the best apple juice I have had in my entire life.
This is the most pretentious choice for a beverage that's ever happened. And the only reason she likes it so much, because the first time we had it, we were all dying of thirst, and it was so hot. They were like, oh my God, this is amazing. They could have given us donkey urine, and we'd be like, this is amazing.
But then we went back, and we got it again when we weren't dying of thirst, and it was still amazing.
Not as good, though. Not as good.
All right, so favorite food and dessert. That can be tough because, I like to eat, and so does Sir Chunk. That's the chunk.
Chunk my chunk.
So my favorite food is clearly pizza, and this is actually a picture of a pizza from my favorite local pizza place. And then for dessert, either the lemon turnover from the Italian bakery that's down the street from us, which, I mean, if you are lucky enough to live within a few miles of an Italian bakery,
you're gonna get chunky.
You're good. And also, this place has 35 different flavor cannolis at any time.
Cannoli.
Okay, fine, it's cannoli, but 35 different cannoli flavors, not combined into one, just,
right.
Different cannoli. And then plus all their other stuff. But these lemon turnovers are absolutely phenomenal. They just make me very, very happy. And then, more specifically, this dessert, it's creme brulee, but it's not just any creme brulee. It's overpriced creme brulee from the Sofitel hotel chain.
Yeah, that place is really nice, but yeah, it's crazy overpriced. All right, so I got for my favorite food Buffalo Seitan.
This is from mine.
I'm a vegetarian. This is from a place that's kind of, I don't want to identify the location we're at now.
Yeah.
So, this is a picture from a place of a place. I said place way too many times. Thank you very much. So I'm vegetarian, but I was vegan for a while, and I believe when I was vegan, I was the world's fattest vegan. But anyway, Buffalo Seitan, it's great because if you can't eat buffalo chicken, this is very similar. It's amazing. I'd kill a person to eat it. Anyway, my next favorite thing, I was just making fun of Coolidge Girl's pretentious choice, and here's my pretentious choice. My favorite dessert is gelato, but not any gelato. Only the gelato that you actually buy off some random guy on the street somewhere in Italy. I believe Florence was my absolute favorite.
This picture is literally from the first place we ever had gelato in Italy, from the place in Florence where we got it.
Yeah, it was like, I literally could not comprehend how delicious this thing was. And in fact, I think I'm lactose intolerant now. I wasn't at the time. I think that eating so much gelato turned me lactose intolerant because it was so insanely good. I would eat one and then find the next guy. I'm like, you give me a different one. And then of course he was just like, okay, why are you getting all weird about it? But yeah, gelato in Italy. If you go to Italy and you don't eat gelato, you're just ruining your life, man. Favorite clothing up next. I don't have a picture of mine because I'm not sure where mine is. It might be in the trunk of my car, so maybe there will eventually be a picture. But assuming there won't be a picture, my favorite is I have a green hoodie with a image of Boba Fett and Altair merged together into what I call a Boba Altair. I don't know how rare this is. Coolidge Girl found it off some dude who designs images and stuff. It's probably not one of a kind, but it's kind of rare. So yeah, it's pretty awesome. Mixing Boba Fett, of course, Star Wars fame, and Altair, of course, from Assassin's Creed. They make a really cool image, and I love that. Very cool.
There may be a T-shirt of it somewhere, so I might be able to try and find that. If not, but his is a hoodie.
Look into my car and see if it's in there.
Yeah, but he's not going to do that. So for mine, I had this pair of shoes when I was 15 years old, and I bought them, and I was very excited. And they were one of the first things I bought with my babysitting money. And they were expensive. I think they were $60, which was a big deal for me at the time. That was the only thing I spent money on, I feel like, when I was younger. And they were Vans. and they had all this weird stuff, velvet and astroturf and corduroy, and every time I've tried to explain them to people, they think I'm making things up because they're like, that sounds like nonsense. No one knows what you're talking about. So I had them, and then my mom, for whatever reason, like, something happened and they got, like, damaged, and then she threw them away. They weren't damaged enough I couldn't wear them, but she just said they were too damaged, so she threw them away. So I went and bought a second pair when I was, like, 15 or 16 before I moved, because my family moved in high school. And then I bought the second pair, and then when we moved, I suddenly couldn't find them when I was going off to college, and my mom was like, oh, they must have been lost in the move. And then I have found photos of me from between that point of the move and college. I've gone back, and I'm wearing them. So they were not lost in the move. So that's nonsense. She threw them away when I was away at school or when I was out doing something because she didn't like them. She thought they were silly looking.
The CIA abducted your shoes.
Well, anyway, so this pair of shoes, I have spent like 20-something years looking for these shoes again because I loved them. They were my favorite, and I couldn't find them. And a couple of years ago, I happened on eBay, and I found them a little too big for me, and I don't care, and now I own them again. And these are the shoes. This is a picture of the shoes. They exist. So when anyone says those weird Vans with all the different like fabrics on them didn't exist, they did. And now I own them again.
Unfortunately, they got lost in the move again. No, not really. Maybe next time.
That better never happen again.
Unless your mom doesn't help move.
So we realized this was going to be really long and decided we're going to break it into 3 parts. So we will be back soon with part 2 and part 3. Thanks.